Hello everybody and welcome back. I am here today to share the second week challenge and the freebies. These are the challenges that are going alongside the collaboration kit that I'm doing with Jade E Susan. It's called the Forager. You can find the links down below for the full kit if you are interested. It is currently discounted for the month of October, so go and take advantage of that discount now. It's a lovely kit based on obviously foraging, so it's very leafy, lots of florals, berries, that kind of a thing. Last week the challenge was to create some kind of expandable folder. I know when Jade did these, she did these as kind of like recipe cards, which is a great idea. So obviously when you forage, you can use them with recipes. I've just done mine as kind of journaling cards because it's going to go into my journal like this. So I've got my different journaling cards. I've tabbed them all so that I can see where they are. So that was my week 1 challenge. This week we are looking at specimen slides. Of course we are. We have to really when we're foraging, don't we? So I have my freebie pages. Jade also has hers. You can find them in the Non-Stop Papercrafts Facebook group, or I'll have my freebies on my Ko-fi page and Jade will have hers on her Ko-fi as well. So the first page, as you can imagine, are different slides. So I've got some, I've tried to kind of play around a little bit with the sizing and also with the size of the windows. So when I've made them in the past, this is the template that I've always used. So I've kind of just had this shape. You obviously cut out both squares, fold it over, and you've got an instant slide. These ones though, I've tried to make the bottom a little bit bigger. So that if you want to stick a little label on there, maybe make some notes, you can do that as well. And I've then shrunk them down. So this is the one with the deeper bottom, like this one, but I've done it in more of a kind of a grungy brown colour. And then this one is in that lovely purple that was in the freebies last week as well. And this is just a shrunk down version of this one, but it's more square. And this one, these one are, they're not quite a square, they're probably more stretched lengthways. But you've got those in different sizes to play around with. I then thought, well, instead of a square, let's go for circles. So I've got the same essentially, but this time with circles. So again, these two have a kind of deeper bottom so that you've got an area to maybe stick a label. But essentially the same thing, just this time with circles. And then to put inside those, I've got a page of different cut aparts. Now, they are duplicated on here, but they are then shrunk down. So this mushroom, for example, you can see here is quite large, and then I've shrunk it down over here so it's smaller. Same with this one, and each of them I've done the same. So I have shrunk them down, and I did check to make sure that they kind of fit in the smaller sizes as well. But as I said, those are the freebie pages. You can find them in the Non-Stop Papercrafts Facebook group or on my Ko-fi page. So let's get on with the challenge. Now, so you're not sitting here bored watching me cut these out, I have already chopped them up. So that part has done. I've got a tray just in front of me that has all of my different bits and pieces in. So it's got 3 compartments. So I've got all of my fussy cuts. And I didn't fussy cut all of them, I must admit. Some of them I went a little bit lazy on. And I just used different punches. So that one's just got a rectangle. Because I'm not obviously going to be able to use all of these in my specimen slides. So I thought, well, some of them I can use within my journal. So some of them I just use a circle punch to punch out. But then, yeah, others I did go round and fussy cut. And I think they're from last week, those freebies. Yeah, and they're all from last week as well. So, yeah, let's get on with making some specimen slides. Now, I was trying to think of something a little bit different with them. Rather than just cutting them out, sticking something in the centre, I wanted to have a little bit of a play around. So I'm going to do a bit of embossing as well. So I've dug out some of my embossing folders that I thought would go with this, because obviously if it's foraging, I've got some florals. So these are my 3 floral ones. So I've got this, pattern, which I think is quite nice. And I appreciate that you're probably not going to be able to see that very well on the camera, but it has got very small florals and then a lace at the top and the bottom. But I'm not interested in the lace, I just want the floral pattern. So I've got those, and then I also found some leafy ones that I've got as well. So yeah, I'm going to do some embossing. and use some of the little cutter parts as well. But I do need to get some of these cut out first. So I think that's where I will start. So let's get rid of those. And I think I might do a couple of round ones and square ones. So let's have a think. Which ones do I want to do? I think I'll start with, I might do these two at the top as the squares. And then I might do the other two at the bottom as circles, just so that we're kind of getting a little bit of both. Okay, so they're the ones that I'm going to do today. So I'm just going to very quickly cut these out. Now, I do appreciate that my last video was a little long. I don't normally like to do videos too long. I try my best to keep them certainly no longer than half an hour, but my last video was quite long, even though I did do a lot of editing as well and try to speed processes up. But unfortunately, sometimes I think that just can't be helped. Certain projects, you just need a longer video. So I'm going to try and keep this one a little bit shorter. So I'm just going to carry on cutting these out. I think I'm going to do the first one with you, and then the rest I'll kind of do off camera. Now, when I do mine, rather than fussy cutting every little bit, now you can use a Cricut or a Scan and Cut if you have those machines. I do have a Cricut, but it's all boxed up at the moment because I'm actually selling it because I'm getting a different Cricut machine. So I've had the Explore Air 2. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the Explore Air 2, except I'm after a smaller machine because I am in a small craft room and I just don't have the space for the Explore Air 2 basically on my desk. So there is a new Cricut machine called the Joy Extra, which still has the print and cut feature, because I was looking at the Cricut Joy, which is a teeny tiny machine, but it doesn't do print and cut, and obviously to cut these out I need the print and cut feature. So the Cricut Joy Extra is just slightly larger. It prints A4 and does the print and cut feature, so that's what I'm going to go for because it's a smaller machine, so it'll be perfect for my small craft room. So yeah, so as I was saying, you could get a machine to cut these out, or what I like to do is I literally just fold them up, obviously make sure that you've got them lined up, and then it just makes everything else super easy to cut out. Now, you can use the scissors to round the corners. I'm actually going to get my corner rounder, and I'm going to get a circle punch to do that bit. So I've got my corner rounder, which does 3 different sizes, and then I've got this circle punch, which I believe is 1.5 inches. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just going to do the circle rounder first, and I can never remember if this is a 7 or a 10. Let's have a look. 7. Yeah, so it's my medium curve. Because I think when people have just the standalone corner rounder, most people have this one, which is like a medium roundness. This one barely takes anything off. It just doesn't make it a pointy corner basically, but that one's a super curve. So I think most people have that one if they just have this single rounder. So that's why I kind of designed that to have that. So that's on that now on both sides, so that saves that fussy cutting. And then all I'm going to do is just pull this in, and then obviously up until I see the pattern, and then I'm just going to punch that out. And again, it's done it on both sides, so that's brilliant. And now for the window, I am going to use a craft knife just because I find that much quicker and easier. So I keep it again folded over. You just obviously need to make sure that you're holding it nice and secure when you're doing it. And then you can of course use a ruler. I just tend to freehand because I'm far too lazy, even though my rulers are right in front of me. Okay, and then you just follow the lines along. And then I'm just going over twice sometimes because I want to make sure that obviously I'm getting through both layers. So I can feel it on my mat underneath whether I'm through, so I'm just making sure that I'm going across. And I think this is the last side. Okay, so that should be all the sections cut. Yeah, it has gone through on this side. Although I think I need to sharpen my craft knife a little bit because it's caught a little bit in areas. But that's not a problem. And then that's it cut out. So for me, I just find that the easiest process. So as I said, I don't want to bore you to tears watching me cut all of them out. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll come back and I'll do the insides with you. Right, okay, so that's all of those cut out. So the next part then is to start obviously adding the bits that are going to go inside and giving them a bit of an ink. So I know you probably can't see it very well on here, but I have got some acetate here, and all I use is packaging. So when I get stamps and things like that, some of the backing sheets that I don't obviously need, I then peel off and I use those, or for other packaging. Whenever it has a piece of acetate, I cut it out normally and save it, and then I can use that for this kind of thing. So let's have a little bit of a play around. As I said, I want to do some embossing just to make it a bit more interesting. Now, because these are already quite textured, I might emboss one of them actually, but I don't want to do all of them. So I think I might emboss the purple one actually. So I'm going to emboss that one, although this one might have more space. Actually, yes, so I'm going to emboss that one. The rest I'm not going to emboss. I'm going to emboss the bit that goes inside. So before I do anything, I think I want to give these a bit of an ink. Now, as I always say, inking is optional. I have been using ground espresso for this particular project because I'm thinking foraging, mud, that's kind of a deep darky brown. So that's what I've been using. So I'm just going to quickly go around this one here. Okay, so that's that one all inked. So let's get that embossed. Now, because it's a green, I think I might go with one of my leafy ones. I'm just not sure whether I want big leaves or the little ones. I'm thinking the little ones, only because obviously it is a small area really that's going to be embossed, isn't it? Although I do want to open it out twice, so I might actually use the bigger one. I don't know yet. Let's have a look. So one side's going to be more leafy than the other, isn't it, if I do it that way round? I only want to emboss it this way, because if I emboss it together, one side's going to be embossed, the other side's going to be debossed, which I guess doesn't matter. But it also compresses it together, and then it's trying to peel it open without tearing anything. So do I go with this one? I think I might. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with this one. I'm going to pop that one in. Right, so my machine is actually to the side of me. It's too big to get under the camera. So I'm going to very quickly put this through, and then we'll work on this one. And then we'll just do it bit by bit. Right, okay, so let's see how that's done. Okay, so it probably doesn't show up very well on the screen, which is, like I said, why I wasn't particularly sure about doing this. However, when you have it in front of you and you're feeling the texture, it does give it a really lovely texture. So that's great. So I'm just going to put that to the side for a second, and I'm going to put those to the side for a second. So because I've got all the texture here, I think I might gently go over with my dabber that obviously has the brown on, just to kind of pick up where that embossing is, just so you can see it a bit better, because like I said, the texture, the feel of it is lovely, but you just can't see it very well because of the grunginess of this. But that picks up lots better, can you see, in comparison to that side. So if we open it up, you can see the embossing much more clearly and the leaves. So I'm going to do the same on this side. So I'm just brushing over just to help pick that up a little bit better. Okay, yeah, I really like that. So now we get to play around with some acetate, or I might use some book page. So I pulled out, this is from one of my flower books. So we've got, I'm not very good with flowers, I'm going to probably mispronounce this, clematis. So all different informations about that particular flower. Apparently it's called Old Man's Beard or Traveller's Joy. Who knew? Right, but I'm going to put that, I think, kind of behind it. So let's tear down there and down there, and tear a little bit more down here just so it fits a bit better. Okay, so I'm going to have clematis in there, and then on this side I'm going to stick one of my flowers. So it's a climber. Does it say what colour flowers? Let's have a look. Bell-shaped flowers. Let's have a look. See, these are kind of bell-shaped flowers. I don't know if that is what this is, but that is a bell-shaped flower, I would have said. Again, like I said, I'm not an expert, have no idea what I'm actually looking at, but I think that will do. Actually, we'll go with those. So let's see, so if that's going to go there, I'm just going to make a little mark with my pencil. About there, because I need to chop it down a little bit, and about there. So I'm just going to use my scissors. I'm not going to bother getting a trimmer out for these. So I'm going to come inside the lines, and I'm just going to trim them just inside where I've made the marks. And then when it goes in here, that's going to go about there. So I do need to just trim very, very slightly and off this edge. Yeah, so that's going to go about there like that. I'm also going to screw it up a little bit, open it up, and then again, just using my dabber, just going to brush over the top just to give it a bit more colour and texture. Flatten that out a little bit, and then I'm going to glue this down inside. So I'm just making sure I know where it's going. Again, I'm going to open it up, and again I'm just going to, with my pencil, draw inside where my glue needs to be. So I'm going to mostly focus obviously around the window. And then up to where that pencil mark is. And then this I'm just going to pop back on top, and before I press anything down, I'm just going to again make sure that it's in place, because we want that word of that flower to be shown. So we've got that. And you have a couple of options. Obviously, if you want to stick this down on your page and make it a pocket, then you won't really worry too much about the back. And then you could possibly have this on the front, which is what I might do. I might use this as a pocket, this one maybe. Or do I just have this on the back? Yeah, I think actually I'm going to make this into a pocket. Yeah, I might make this one into a pocket. So I'm not going to fuss too much about the back because you're not going to see the back. So I'm just going to seal this shut. So I'm just going to glue all around the inside. Oops. Okay, get that all glued down. And then yeah, I'm going to make this a pocket. So I am just going to ink around this a little bit just so it's not quite so white. And these are all vintage images, oops, of flowers. So they're not like really crisp like a photo would be. Like some of the outlines look a little bit faded, but like I said, it's because they are vintage images. So then I think I'm going to stick that there. And then from last week, I've got these labels, so I might stick that one on there. So a bit of glue on the back. Oops. Pop you down. And specimen 4. Pop down there. Okay, so there is one. Let's do maybe one of the circular ones. No, we've done circular. Let's do one of the other ones. Let's do the mini, and then I can have a play around with the others another time. Like I said, I don't want to make this video absolutely massively long. So this time I'm not going to emboss the actual card. I am going to emboss the acetate that's going to go inside. So I'm just going to measure how much I need and then just chop it down. About there. And again, I appreciate that you probably can't see very much with the acetate. So I've got a very small piece of acetate. So let's think, what do we want? So how big's my window? Okay, so actually that flower's quite big, isn't it? We can have even the little ones with a bit of a leaf. So I might actually go for that one. So I'm just going to line up my acetate with that bit because I want, like I said, the I quite like the leaves and those two roses. And then I'm just going to put that through my machine. Okay, so again, I appreciate that you probably can't see that very well on the screen, but it has embossed. And again, it's more for when you're up close and looking at it. So that's going to go in there. I do need to take a teensy bit off the top here because it's poking out. Now with acetate it's a bit tricky with the sticking down, so I am going to use some double-sided tape. So I'm just going to grab that quick, and I have this like super thin one which is perfect for going round windows like this. So I'm just going to whiz round and do that. So I'm just going to pull off Okay, so that's that one. I've only done one side, I don't want to do the other side just yet. And then I'm just going to line this up with obviously what I want visible in the window. Okay, so when I close that, I can see the two flowers. I've got some leaves and I've got another flower there. As I said, I appreciate this is probably difficult to see on camera. Don't have anything. No, that's going to be no good, is it? Yeah, you can't really see on there either. But as I said, as I'm looking at it, you can see the pattern in there and it's really pretty. So we've got that one. Oh, I actually forgot to ink this one, didn't I? That was a bit silly. Tip to selves: if you're inking, ink before you start sticking the innards in. Just going to quickly whiz round. It's not too much of a disaster. Okay, so now that that has done, I'm actually going to cut some of this bottom piece off because obviously it's just a waste. And I'm then going to take this release paper off and then I can close it up and then we can decorate the front a little bit. Right, there we go. And then I'm just going to use a bit of glue around all the other parts. So a little bit up the side, obviously around the top and coming down. I'm just going to fold that over. And then the tape will just seal around the window and obviously the glue will do everything else. So there's that. Just going to put this on. Right, and then we get the fun again of decorating. Now this one I will have double-sided and won't use it as a pocket necessarily. So let's have a look at what we've got. So all of these were different freebies. Obviously this is brown, so that's going to be just too much. We could have a little mushroom down the bottom, maybe. Or actually, I really love these berries. This is from last week. But I'm thinking I could use this as a tab. And then it can kind of be pulled out of something or have the tab at the top. I know we've got the thumb notch there, but that doesn't matter, does it? So I might put that at the top actually. Let's give that a little ink. But these freebies are just so fun to play around with. You don't have to necessarily use them, as I say, as a specimen slide. Like I said, this one I'm going to use as a pocket within my journal. It all depends really on how you want to use them. Right, so this one I think definitely is going to get stuck at the top. Maybe make sure it's in the middle, Suzanne. That's a bit better. Still not convinced that's the middle. That's better. Right, okay, so we've got that. And then what else do we want? So I've got this from last time as well, nature. Obviously that's far too big, so that's not going to be any use to anybody. I have got some scrap tea stained paper that might be perfect though. So I'm going to tear down there and tear up the middle. And we can pretend that that's like a label. And then I can always stamp or write something on it later. And maybe do the same on the other side. Okay, something like that. Okay, so there are 2 examples. I think I'm going to have a play around with the other 2 and then I'll come back and show you what I have done. As I said, I don't want to make this a massively long video, but I do want to hopefully give you some ideas and inspiration. So it'll be a moment to you, but I'll be back very shortly with some more examples with these 2. Okay everybody, so I have cracked on and finished these 3. So this is the one that you've seen me make already. So we've embossed this one. I've inked over the embossing so that it can be seen a little bit more clearly. I'm not fussing too much about the back because I'm going to stick this down as a pocket onto the page. So I'm not going to worry too much about the back at the moment. But that was one of the specimen cards. I haven't attached anything else to it. So for example, this one I've added some of this string. I'm not doing that on here because obviously I don't want anything catching when I'm trying to put it in the pocket. So this one I have this clear sort of sticky tape stuff, and I have put one of the cutter parts from the freebies in it. I've also punched a couple of holes to put this stringing. I've done a little bit of stamping, and on the back, just so it's not blank, because obviously these are white on the back. I mean, you could print double-sided and have some of the patterned paper on the back. It's entirely up to you, but I just did a bit of stamping on the back as well, and there's a little stamp extra on there as well. I didn't overly decorate this one because obviously it has a pretty pattern on it already, so I just added the numbers there, oops, and then the numbers down the bottom there as well. And then that's one specimen card. And then this one obviously you saw me do as well, but all I've done is just finished off with a little bit of stamping. So we've got field label on the front, and then we've got some what look like notes on the back ready to go. But then you've got that lovely embossed acetate in the middle. Now the last one I kind of wanted to finish off with you watching, just so you can see how I've put this one together. So this one I'm thinking of sticking to the page and making a pocket, but then I thought, well, since we've got this notch here, it suggests that it should be a pocket anyway. So again, I appreciate that it's tricky to see, but as you can see from the shine, there is acetate on this side, there is acetate on this side, and then you might be able to see it just because of the tape. I've actually created little flaps with the acetate as well, so that that's going to form a pocket when I fold it over. Now because of the circle shape, I have cut a kind of around the circle edge here, just so that you can't see it when it is closed. I've also gone over this purple paper and again just done lots of stamping. I didn't use black, I used the ground espresso because obviously it's a very dark brown and it just goes with everything else that I've been using in the kit. So I've just done it in that brown with the stamping, just to again give it a little bit of something else, so it's not just a purple specimen card. So I just wanted to show you how I made this pocket, just in case people ask later on. So I'm just going to peel these bits off, and then we can actually make that into a pocket, and then I'll show you what I'm actually going to pop onto the windows. So we're just going to take these parts off. Okay, and then holding that in place, I'm just going to bring this around and then push it down. Okay, so now we have an actual pocket and it's got acetate on either side. Okay, now for this I am going to use, I've got these clear stickers and I thought this colour goes perfectly with obviously what we've got there. And because with this particular pack, and I can't remember where I've got them from, but because you get two that are the same, I thought brilliant because I can put one on one side, one on the other side, and it pretty much mirrors. So we'll start with the first one and then we can figure out the position of number 2. So about there. And the nice thing with them being clear stickers, if you do overlap a little bit to the specimen card, it obviously doesn't matter. So that one can go there, and then I'm going to flip it over. And I don't know how exacting these stickers are as to their symmetry, but I'm going to stick it roughly in the same place. I mean, like I said, I am going to have an insert, so there's going to be something sitting in this pocket. So I just need to kind of line it up roughly. And like I said, I am a little bit out, but I don't mind that. So I've got my butterfly, one on each side, and then all I've done is I've just created this. So this is a freebie from last week. This is one of the freebie pages, and it's just got some pretty patterns. Then all I've done is I've just paper clipped some little sort of scrappy bits of tea stain strips that I had, and I thought, well, they'll be great for little notes. And then that's just going to go inside that pocket there, and I did make it a little bit taller so that obviously it's easy to pull out. So that's that one, and we can still see the beautiful butterfly on either side as well. So yeah, I really like that. So they're different ideas of ways that you can play around with these specimen cards. So as I said, you can make it as an actual pocket, you can have it so it's stuck to the page to make a pocket, or you could just have them as well, not journaling cards, but something that's perhaps just decorative card to put into your journals. So this is the challenge for week 2. I hope you found a little bit of inspiration here, some ideas on how you can play around with these. I always enjoy playing around and doing specimen cards. They're probably one of my favourite things because there are so many different ways that you can do them. As I mentioned right at the beginning of the video, you can find these freebies either in the Non-Stop Papercrafts Facebook group or on my Ko-fi page. Jade also has freebies on her Ko-fi page, and her freebies will also be in the Non-Stop Papercrafts Facebook group. So if you want to grab those, make sure you click those links down below. And as I said, the full kit, the forager, I've got my half of the kit available in my Etsy shop, and Jade sells hers on Ko-fi. So again, all that will be down below. There is also a discount on at the moment for the month of October. Yeah, it's been really lovely seeing each of you taking part in the first challenge. I'm really excited to see how you play around with these for the second challenge, and whatever other ideas you come up with the specimen cards. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.